Susan, and for the next half hour, I'll be reading from the Investigative Post on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. The first article I would like to read is entitled Canal Side Apartments Getting a 30-Year Tax Break. The Hochul administration won't say, and the city of Buffalo doesn't know, how much the property tax abatement will save the developers of the already heavily subsidized project. Canal Side Apartments are getting a 30-year tax break. The Hochul administration is refusing to release details about how much the property tax abatement is worth to the developer. The tax break is 2 to 3 times longer than what's usually granted to projects. The heavily subsidized $225 million development under construction on the site of the former Memorial Auditorium at Canalside will benefit from yet another tax break not previously reported. That incentive, a 30-year property tax abatement likely worth millions for the 251-unit apartment building. Typical property tax abatements in Buffalo are 10 to 12 years long. Property tax abatements granted by the Erie County Industrial Development Agency range from 5 to 10 years. And no one will say exactly how much the payment in lieu of taxes deal is worth. Empire State Development, which linked the deal with developer Penrose, refused to say. And Buffalo Mayor Sean Ryan's administration says it wasn't aware of the pilot. Assessment and Taxation Commissioner Jason Schell said he wouldn't be able to assess the value of the incentive until his office performs a post-construction valuation. And Dylan Salmons, the Penrose executive in charge of the project, refused to return emails and phone calls from Investigative Post seeking comment. Campaign finance records show Salmons donated $3,000 to Governor Kathy Hochul's re-election campaign 1 week before the state inked the pilot agreement with his firm. Empire State Development and State Agency Homes and Community Renewal have also refused so far to honor Freedom of Information requests that was filed June 26th for project financing documents that would detail what the pilot agreement and other subsidies are worth. The agencies have also not fulfilled a similar FOIL request for a group of local developers opposed to the project. It adds up to yet another subsidy for a project that's already received more than $150 million in tax credits, grants, and low-interest loans from the state. The pilot wasn't disclosed. I never realized that the state could just grant a pilot for local property taxes, said Lawrence Quinn, former managing partner of the Buffalo Sabres and the city's commissioner of community development under Mayor James Griffin. It's pretty scary that they can do that. They're imposing that cost on local taxpayers, added Chris Jacobs, head of Avalon Development and a critic of the Penrose project. Deputy Mayor Thomas Baines, in a statement, said the Empire State Development did not inform the city it had agreed to a 3-decade property tax abatement for the project. That incentive also received no mention in Governor Kathy Hochul's recent press release announcing the project's groundbreaking. At this point, the city does not know the full value of the abatement or the amount of tax revenue that may be foregone over the life of the agreement, Baines said. Those are important questions, and we believe there should be a mechanism to ensure the city benefits in some way during the years a project is receiving a tax abatement, such as through a dedicated fund or other financial support. In a statement, a spokesman for Hochul agreed that the Memorial Auditorium site sat vacant and generated no tax revenue until the state development agencies, at her direction, pushed to redevelop it into apartments and commercial space. They noted the pilot agreement predated Ryan, but that the Hochul administration has been in touch with every mayoral administration about the project since 2023. The spokesman added that the campaign donations have no influence on government decisions. And 4 days after this story was published, a spokesperson for Penrose sent a statement denying that campaign donations have any bearing on the North Odd Block project. Any political contribution is done consistent with both New York state law and Penrose's internal process, Lizzie Lear, a spokesman for the company, wrote in an email. There is no connection between political contributions and project-level financing or approvals. Philadelphia-based Penrose won a state bid in 2023 to redevelop the former Memorial Odd, which was demolished in 2009. Original plans called for a mix of apartments, 251 units, commercial space, and parking at a cost of $160 million. In the years since, costs have climbed dramatically, first to $189 million and now to $252 million. The subsidies have piled up too. Last July, Empire State Development quietly approved the 30-year property tax abatement. In a memo outlining the deal, the state agency said Penrose had originally sought a payment in lieu of taxes deal from the city, but noted the city cannot offer a pilot longer than 15 years per local law. That, ESD President and CEO Hope Knight wrote, left the project with a gap in its financial structure. The terms of the agreement are sparse. Penrose, according to the memo, will pay $115,000 in payments in the first year of the agreement, which begins when the building is complete. 3/4 of that total, which is $86,595, will go to the city, and 1/4, $28,865, to Erie County. In each subsequent year, the payment amount will increase by 3%. Annual payments at the end of the deal will be around $500,000. The ESD memo contains no further financial information. It includes nothing on the projected assessment of the building's estimated tax bill, or the tax savings to Penrose. Other pilots linked by the city or an industrial agency which include such information. In an email, ESD spokesperson Laura McGee said the agency doesn't collect that information. Empire State Development does not calculate or maintain assessed property values or tax savings projections for pilot agreements, she said. Standard municipal assessments are determined by the local assessor upon completion of the project. McGee suggested Investigative Post contact the city assessor or Penrose to find out the building's estimated assessed value and value of the pilot agreement. Penrose representatives did not return requests for comment. And Shell, the city assessor, said he didn't have enough information to estimate the building's assessment. He said he would need to see at minimum a full budget for the project to do so. Recently opened downtown apartment buildings of similar sizes offer some clues about what the pilot could be worth. Simonelli Real Estate Project at 201 Ellicott Street has 202 affordable apartments and is valued at $15 million. That project received a 15-year payment in lieu of taxes agreement from the city based on the building's annual rent income. Project budgets obtained by Investigative Post outline the terms of the deal, which currently saves Simonelli more than $150,000 annually in tax payments. The firm will save about $2 million over the course of the agreement. The Krog Group's development of the Trico building at Ellicott and Goodell Streets into 143 market rate apartments, meanwhile, carries an assessed value of $45 million. That building also has a pilot through the city for a 12-year term. Data obtained from the city shows that the deal will save the developer about $7.4 million in tax payments over the course of the agreement, or an annual savings of $616,000 per year. An ESD spokesman said Penrose pilot payments like the Simonelli project will be based on the annual rent brought in by the apartment building. That revenue could factor into the building's assessed value, but additional information is needed to determine what the building is worth, how much its full tax bill would be, and how much the pilot deal is saving the company. Typically, it would be used to derive an estimated value, said Shell, the city assessor. We have not seen plans nor made any valuation estimates for the project. At this time, without any of those documents, we would not be able to speculate what an assessed value for the project would be. Now, if you would like to hear more of this article, do not hesitate to call 716-821-5555, and one of our staff members will be happy to read the rest of it to you. You've been listening to a reading of articles and features from the Investigative Post on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Next, we have an article entitled, "Drivers Beware. Police are tracking your movements." Local police agencies in Erie County have installed nearly 300 license plate readers and conduct thousands of searches a week of motorists, Cheektowaga in particular. 20 local police agencies have installed license plate readers and conduct thousands of searches a week of motorists. And like I said, Cheektowaga in particular. Officials say the technology helps them fight crime, but critics call it unwarranted surveillance. Imagine you live in Kenmore and need to swing by the Galleria Mall in Cheektowaga. As you drive, a dozen AI-powered license plate reading cameras track your vehicle's movements. The make and model of your car, its color, your license plate number, even your bumper stickers are captured and stored in databases accessible to police locally and around the country. That drive isn't an isolated incident. 19 license plate readers will track a driver traveling from downtown to the mall and back home to Buffalo's west side. A trip from Amherst to watch a Sabres game at KeyBank Center involves a half dozen camera captures. and from Clarence to a Bills game in Orchard Park, 3. You have no way of opting out. The cameras are everywhere, and there are no laws or regulations, save for local policy, governing how law enforcement agencies place license plate readers or cull the data they obtain. Across Erie and Niagara counties, law enforcement agencies have installed hundreds of license plate readers. They record vehicles on highways and main thoroughfares, on college campuses, near parks and public housing complexes, and in the parking lots of malls and other shopping centers. In Buffalo, they tend to be located in low-income neighborhoods. In the suburbs, they're most frequently placed near shopping centers and along major roadways. Many of the license plate readers are leased to local agencies by Flock Safety, a rapidly growing tech company that manufactures one of the most popular brands of license plate readers. The ones in Buffalo are made by Canadian firm Genetec. Where license plate readers are located? Well, Buffalo has 116, Cheektowaga 31, Amherst 24, Buffalo State University 12, Town of Tonawanda 12, West Seneca 12, Hamburg 4. Over the last year and a half, local police agencies have made more than 218,000 searches of data obtained by the Flock license plate readers. Police say they're using the technology to find stolen cars, locate missing people, and solve crimes. In Amherst, for example, Captain Greg Huller said the town has seen a significant increase in stolen vehicles, and detectives have been actively using Flock to locate stolen vehicles or vehicles associated with the larcenies. This has been the most common type of search, though we also use it for other types of crimes. But an analysis of Flock data by Investigative Post found they're often not specific about why they're searching for a particular vehicle. In some cases, police used those cameras to track down migrants wanted by the federal government. This strikes me as a massive sort of dragnet surveillance system that is recording the location of anybody who happens to pass a Flock camera 24/7 consistently, said Jonathan Maines, senior counsel at the MacArthur Justice Center, whose research and litigation focuses on issues stemming from government surveillance. I think it's a massive invasion of privacy to be compiling a database of people's movements. Police are using the cameras nearly every minute of the day. Officers with 20 local agencies, Investigative Post found, searched for a vehicle in the Flock network of cameras more than 218,000 times over a 17-month period from January 2025 through the beginning of June of this year. That equates to a license plate search every 3 minutes. That count doesn't include Buffalo police searches of its 116 Genetec license plate readers. It's not just local police that search the local cameras. Thousands of law enforcement agencies have installed more than 6,500 networks of Flock cameras across the country. Police in Western New York share access to their networks with hundreds of other departments, and they in turn have access to thousands of networks themselves. This story is based on an Investigative Post analysis of millions of Flock searches performed by police here and around the country. Some of the data came via an open records request made by Scott Conway, a Town of Tonawanda resident concerned about the use of the technology, while other data was obtained via a website that compiles public record requests for flock data from around the country. In the Buffalo suburbs, where flock is most used intensely, residents are beginning to speak out against the constant surveillance. It's a panoption that is and will continue to be abused, said Conway, Town of Tonawanda resident. I think there is nothing inherently wrong with the technology, but I think that strong oversight is required to use it without compromising fundamental civil liberties. In an interview, Flock spokesman Paris Lebel disputed that the company's cameras can track a vehicle's movement. He did not dispute, however, that an officer could trace a driver's path if their vehicle is captured by multiple Flock cameras. The license plate readers work by taking a point-time image of a vehicle in public view, Lebel said. After that picture was taken, you don't know if the vehicle turned left, if it turned right, or if it stopped somewhere. Between January 2025 and June of this year, 20 local police agencies in Erie and Niagara counties conducted more than 2018 vehicle searches using the Flock surveillance system. That's an average of 423 searches a day. None use the system more than Cheektowaga police, who have acquired the Flock system nearly 48,000 times over the past 17 months. The town has 29 cameras installed and 2 more on the way. On its Flock Transparency website, the town reports its cameras have captured nearly 545,000 license plates in the last month alone. Other heavy search users include the Erie County Sheriff's Office, police in the towns of Hamburg and West Seneca, and the Niagara Frontier Transportation Authority Police. Police also searched local cameras for immigrants. In April, for example, 60 police agencies, most from Texas and Florida, conducted more than 600 nationwide searches for immigrants or for migrants that included cameras located in Cheektowaga. NFTA police used their Flock system to assist the FBI and other unnamed federal agencies. The data shows 1,700 searches related to FBI investigations and another 500 to assist federal investigations generally. Those searches mainly concerned activity at the Buffalo Niagara International Airport, where the NFTA has a limited number of Flock cameras. A half dozen are located along the access roads leading to and from the parking lots. Patterson declined to elaborate on what kinds of cases his officers work with federal agencies on. It's another investigative tool that law enforcement agencies use to solve crime and protect citizens. We use that in our transportation spaces to deter terrorism, to make sure we can respond effectively to missing persons, and to prevent and deter the apprehended stolen vehicles that are called for service. Lebel said any collaboration between police and federal agencies is made at the local level, not by Flock. Searches of the Flock system by the Sheriff's Office, Hamburg Police, and West Seneca Police involved broad categories such as investigation, as well as more specific queries like hit and run, traffic infractions, and various kinds of theft. The Sheriff's Office also uses Flock for narcotics investigations. That accounted for more than 22% of the agency's searches. Buffalo Police used the 116 genetic license plate readers, though department spokesperson Timothy Richards said the cameras don't integrate with the flock system. That's 12 more readers than the department had when Investigative Post first reported on the technology 3 years ago. The data, however, shows Buffalo police made 3,800 flock searches over the past 17 months, and many searches involved gun crimes or shootings. Richards said two specialized officers assess flock when creating intelligence reports and tracking dangerous suspects of violent crime. He said the city doesn't pay to use flock. In Amherst, use of license plate readers is poised to expand. The town is in the process of switching its plates from Flocks to Axon, the company better known for supplying police body cams. Before ending its $60,000 per year contract with Flock, officers had 17 cameras installed and logged nearly 8,800 searches over the past 18 months. The town in February agreed to purchase 24 Axon cameras for $300,000. Over the last several years, we have seen a significant increase in stolen vehicles, and detectives have been actively using Flock to locate stolen vehicles or vehicles associated with the larcenies, explained Amherst Police Captain Greg Huller. This has been the most common type of search, though we also use it for other crimes. Investigative Post sought interviews with the 20 police departments named in the Flock data. Only 3 granted interviews, while police officials in 3 other departments answered questions via email. The other 14 departments did not respond to phone calls or emails or refused to comment. Police who spoke to Investigative Post argued license plate readers are an important investigatory tool that they use routinely to find missing vehicles and persons and to solve crimes. Hamburg Chief Peter Diaz told Investigative Post his department has 4 Flock cameras installed at an annual cost of $12,000. We use them as an investigative tool to determine which vehicles may have been at the scene of a crime. Since implementation, they have been very valuable in identifying numerous stolen vehicles entering our town, and they have been used to solve crimes, as well as locate missing persons. Town of Tonawanda Chief Michael Milosh similarly described the Flock's camera as a very nice tool for investigations and follow-up. Crime and some residents disagree. In several suburbs like Amherst and Cheektowaga, residents have been showing up to town meetings to criticize police use of the technology, and experts Investigative Post spoke with say use of the cameras and may amount to unlawful surveillances. Absolutely, it's mass surveillance. It has a huge potential for abuse and very, very little oversight. If you would like to learn more about this article, feel free to call 716-821-5555, and one of our staff members would be glad to read the rest of the article to you. And you've been listening to a reading of articles and features from the Investigative Post. We read from the Investigative Post on Thursdays at 8:30 a.m. Your reader has been Susan, and thank you for listening.
Good morning. Welcome to another broadcast day in the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, a private not-for-profit organization. As always, please feel free to contact us with your comments, suggestions, or questions, and stay with us. Reading the Buffalo News is coming up next.